Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today we're diving back into what you can get from that pack. And the pack in question today is going to be this pack right here, the Great Exhibition 2000s Carbon Fiber. This is the bad boy that you're going to be opening, or that you might need to open for the Roof RTR Finals. Now, how do I know that it is Great Exhibition 2000s Carbon confirmed? Well, the first off is if you look at the prelim prizes, it kind of confirms my vote, and also it's kind of funny because when it comes to Great Exhibition 2000s cars, there are literally only 2 rares you can give out, and so because of that, they gave out the Signum twice. This is the second time it's being given out. It was given out in the qualifiers. It's being given out again here in the pre-eliminations. Now, the next thing that is proof is right here. I'm going to put a picture. That was my finishing from the qualifiers. I ended 7th. I got the Europa, which is a beautiful car, and as you can see in the pack description, it says Great Exhibition 2000s Carbon. That is basically a dead giveaway. We all know what the finals are going to be. If you're interested to know what I got from that pack, I did not record it, but I can show it to you right now because I'm going to show you the cars. So if I go into miscellaneous and I go, no, decades and years, 2000s miscellaneous collections and tags, where is it? Great Exhibition. Of course, there are these new tags here, Riders on the Storm and Ride of the Valkyries. I will talk about those in a separate video. But 2000s Great Exhibition, basically from my pack, I got my second Europa SE, which I'm going to 996, or 996/332, and I got an Aston Martin V12 Vanquish, my second one as well. Not sure if I'll have a second one max, maybe have it 699 just because I love Aston Martin. But with that said, let's review the pack. So let's talk about the main things first, okay? When it comes to the finals itself, you basically want the Legendaries. One of the key cars in my opinion is going to be the TVR Typhon. If there's any drags, this car is going to be king. I know in the last video where I talked about this, I didn't know if the Aston Martin V12 Vantage or the Typhon were going to be better, which one was going to be better. The Typhon is definitely better. It has much better MRA. Not to say that the Vantage RS doesn't have good MRA, it does, but the Typhon is just a class of its own. If there's going to be any drags in the final, which I can guarantee you there's going to be, this is going to be the best car. Now for the twisties, obviously you want to go for the Aerial Atom 3s, but let's say Legendary is out of the question. The Lotus Exige Cub 260 is the car that you want to go for. This car is really good, and I personally think it's better than the 265E, although the 265E has higher RQ, because although this has a better 0 to 60, the Lotus Exige Cup has better MRA, better handling, as well as it's lighter, right? Of course, for the drags, your best epic is going to be the Aston Martin V12 Vantage if you don't have any of the Legendaries. Now, once again, moving on, these are all low. If there are any city streets going on, this will be your best bet, the Bentley Continental Flying Spur. So it'll be a key car if there are any city streets, anything where it needs medium or small, anything that needs a medium ground clearance car. However, I do doubt that. I'm pretty sure the finals before that, which was the Aventador SVJ, had city streets mediums already, so I'm not sure if we're going to see one again so soon. Besides that, all of these cars are pretty much kind of worthless unless there is rain, because as you can see, the top cars are all rear wheel drive, so if there is any rain, the best car that you're going to go for is the Bentley Continental GT. I can see one rain, but nothing more than one rain. If there is going to be one rain, the best car is going to be the Bentley Continental GT. If not, you're nuttin'. It's GG. Moving on to the ultra rares, everything here is kind of trash. If all you have is ultra rares, this is the point where you can kind of just admit to the reality that you're not going to win the Roof RTR. That being said, there are some pretty useful cars as well. For the Twisty, I would be the Exige S1, and for the drags, it would be a 996 Aston Martin Vanquish. But that is all I basically want to say for the key cars for the finals. Now I want to talk about the pack in general. GE 2000s. What can you get? Now once again, those are the only 2 rares. Here are all the 4 super rares. So if you're opening, or if you plan to open all 15 of these packs, you will be having a lot of duplicates of these 4 cars, which isn't really that bad because the Opel GT is actually a really amazing car. So you do have a 25% chance of actually getting a good super rare from your carbon fiber. I think from mine, I ended up getting, I think it was the XKR 100. I can't remember anymore. I opened it yesterday and I cannot remember what I got. But let's talk about the pack in general. How useful are these cars outside of the finals? I'm sure that is something a lot of people will still want to know, and that's why I think the series is still going to be relevant, because people still want to know, are these cars good outside of the finals? Are they going to be useful outside the finals? Well, let's talk about it real quick. When it comes to the super rare, the XKR 100 isn't too bad, but honestly, it isn't much of a keeper. The Opel GT, however, is definitely a keeper. I would say 9692, 699 the third, because I'm pretty sure 699 on the Opel GT does beat 969 on some very niche track sets. So if you want to kind of make sure that you have all, I guess, tracks covered, the Opel GT 2969 1699 is the way to go. Now moving on to the ultra rares, basically everything you see here is pretty much useless. The most useful ultra rare out of the 6 would be the Aston Martin V8 Vantage Volante, because it's one of the Aston Martin ultra rares that has the upper echelon of MRA. I know it's 80 plus, I think it's 83, so I'm not sure if it's better than the Bulldog, but it's definitely better than DBAR1 and a lot of other Astons in the game. So yes, this one's a decent one. I have one maxed out. I don't use it too often. I can show you my collection later. I do have 2, and the second one I do plan to max 996 for niche Aston Martin events. That being said though, it's not the most useful car in the game. It's just more useful than the other 5 that you see here. That being said, if I get any of these, especially if I wasn't going for super niche categories, if I got any of these 6 from the pack, it would be Fuse. Moving on to the next 6, we have the Exige S2, the Arnage, X-Type, S-Type, DB7, and the Corsa. The Exige S2 honestly has, you know, I'm going to give this kind of a reward of being one of the most disappointing cars in the game. It handles really well, yes, but it's not going to be the 340R. The 0 to 60 on this is very weak as well. It's actually a lot slower than the Lotus Elise 135 that everybody has from the campaign. So what makes it so special? Or what makes it so special in quotation marks? First of all, the handling is decent. It is pretty strong. 699 is going to be 98 handling, but like I said, you know, that 0 to 60 is really a huge handicap for this car, and it's still going to lose to the Lotus 340R. This car is known for having MRA. It has pretty strong MRA, but MRA and low top speed isn't going to work well together, right? MRA only comes into play when maybe fast circuit in some really rare circumstances, but it really shines when it comes to the test bowl and the 1 mile. And you know, you need high speed, you need a good top speed to shine, along with a good MRA in the 1 mile and the test bowl. And this is a car that you're never going to deploy on 1 mile or test bowl, because it maxes out at 147. It's probably going to hit, my best guess, maybe 141 on the test bowl, right? So even if this thing had 150 MRA, it's still not going to beat the Aston Martin V12 Vanquish, because this thing just hits a higher top speed, right? On the 1 mile, I don't think it's going to beat the Vanquish either, if it even had 150 MRA. That's my 2 cents. This car is a bit of a disappointment, right? If you have good MRA, you need good top speed. You know, if in a quarter mile, it's not going to help you, even with the good MRA, because the 0 to 60 is just so weak. It's probably still going to lose to a Chevrolet El Camino, let's be real. Moving on from this 6, the S-Type and the Arnage are really useless. The DB7 isn't that good. It's, I think, 4.087, something like that. I can show you mine later because I have all Astons max. However, the X-Type and the Corsa Super 1600 are really great cars. Both of them are really good for clubs, and both of them are really good for outside events. In general, this is the best ultra front-wheel drive off-road car, so this is definitely a keeper. And four-wheel drive standard tires, especially, you know, for a car like this, you know, it's a really niche category in top drives, and because of that, also is a very useful car, and I did max it out as an ultra, not even when it used to be super rare, but when it was an ultra, I maxed it out. It's a really good car for clubs, niche events for Jaguar events, Jaguar wet events. Jaguar events are pretty common in soft drives. I would say Jaguar is one of those brands that Hutch likes to play with a little more, up there with Chevrolet and Mercedes, so because of that, I think the Jaguar X-Type is a great investment, and the Opel Corsa Super 1600 should not be in debate. It's a great car. You should keep it and max it out. Now, moving on to the next 6 here, we have the Brooklyns, the DB7 GT, the V8, XKR, DB9, and the V8 Vantage. Now, the V8 Vantage I'm a personal fan of because it's one of the lighter Aston Martins. I know 1630, it is one of the lighter Aston Martins. It also handles pretty well. It's one of the ones that handles better. I know it's better than the V8 Vantage. It's better than the DB9 on the twisties. The DB9 is better than the V8 Vantage on the drags, but that 83 handling will come in handy, especially when you compare it here, 82, 79, 81, 83, it will win on the twisties, and it's also, like I said, pretty light. The 0 to 60 is pretty strong, and the top speed is pretty high, but the MRA is not the best. I think the DB9 does beat it on the drags. DB7, I don't know much about it, 4.579, it looks better than the DB9. It might even look like a 996 car, 4579 compared to 4976. Yeah, it might even be 4879, 4579. I don't know what the MRA is on this, but it might be, you know, a very niche Aston Martin quarter-mile car. 4579, this is 44, so that's actually not bad. The DB7 actually doesn't look too bad, but that being said, it's still used for really niche categories. I would say the only good cars that I would consider keeping would be the V8 Vantage N400, as well as the Jaguar XKR 4.2S. This is a great fast circuit car. It has about 90 handling, 4.20 to 60, and it has great MRA. I think the MRA is about 89 or 90, somewhere along those lines. It's a very good car, decent car for the test bowl, decent car for the 1 mile. However, it isn't a car that I would drag spec just because cars like the V12 Vanquish exist. But when it comes to Jaguar alone, this wouldn't be too bad. I mean, 4.50 to 60, this car has decent MRA as well. So honestly, I would say 699 for the fast circuit. It's a decent car. I would keep this, and I would keep the N400 out of this 6. I would also keep the DB7, but that's just plainly because I love Aston Martin. Obviously, I'm judging these cars out of my Aston Martin bias. This is basically of cars that are definitely going to help you in the future. Now, moving on to the next 5, actually, we have the V12 Vanquish, Europa SE, GTC Concept S1, and the XKR. Now, I have to be honest with you, getting any of these cars would be a win. These cars are really good. The S1, I would say, is the weakest out of the 5 because in a general standpoint, this car gets destroyed by the Lotus 340R. Also in Lotus events when it comes to the twisties. And when you want to go to the fast circuit, once again, you want to use a car that has a better top speed than this car right here. That being said, though, for this pack alone, especially for GE events, the Exige S1 can handle its own. Just when you take that GE filter away, where this car is kind of in the open waters getting ready to be eaten by a shark. What kind of analogy was that? Or proverb? I don't know, man. I've been watching a lot of Avatar. I want to speak like Uncle Iroh, but I'm going to need some training for that. That being said, though, Lotus Europa SE, this one's a really niche car. 996, this one. 150 is kind of like that benchmark. It's not high. It's really not high. But, you know, it's good enough for a half mile. It's not a testable, it's not a 1 mile, but at least it's good enough for a half mile. It has decent MRA, 4.90 to 60. It will carry its own, 83 handling as well. Honestly, the thing about the Europa SE is that you want a 996 and nothing else. Because if you compare it to the Lotuses in general, this has such, you know, just disappointing handling that is not going to win any twisty to any Lotus. In fact, in the twisties, it will even lose to the Exige S2. So honestly, I would say go 996 in this bad boy, 150 to 147. Like I said, 1 mile only, very niche car, still not the best thing in the world, and I think it does have better MRA than the Exige S2. Some other cars in here would be the Vanquish is a definite 996, the Opel GTC Concept, amazing stats, amazing 0 to 60, amazing handling, decent top speed, respectable as well, 4-wheel drive, medium ground clearance. The only thing weighing this car down is the MRA. I think the MRA is under 50. It's that bad. But when it comes to twisty rain or any twisty 4-wheel drive club event, this car will have your back. The XKR-R recently got a nerf. Now it's RQ64. Used to be RQ62. Definitely is the best ultra you can get from this pack, statistics wise, and also, you know, in my opinion. So this wouldn't be a car that I would throw away. And of course, if I'm talking in general events, and like I said, I'm judging these cars off general events, it makes the S1 and the Europa SE a lot less sought out for. But the Opel GTC Concept V12 and the XKR, these are the 3 ones that I would genuinely be happy with and keep. Moving on to epics, everything here is fused. Everything is fused. Everything is fused until you end up to the Lotuses. Really what you want to go for is the 260 and the Skura. The 265 hasn't really impressed me. I think it's a fast circuit specialist only, and I think it only beats these two on the fast circuit only. The V12 Vantage is a decent car. It's not the best grade A exhibition car. It's not the best Aston Martin as well. You know, when it comes to Aston Martin events, you have the CC100. When it comes to open UK events, you also have the CC100, and you have cars like the TVR Tuscan race car. So it's not the best car. So honestly, it will definitely help you if you get this from the pack. It will be a keeper. It will help you for this Tri-Series alone. But in a general sense, it's not that useful. Moving on to the Legendaries. Once again, the aerial atoms not that good. There are better aerial atoms out there. Honestly, on a general scale, outside of the Tri-Series, all these legendaries are trash. They are all trash. The TVR Typhon, it's okay. It's that low RQ drag car, but I don't know. I have to put it up to his competition to see if it's actually useful. So let's do that actually. So let's go to my cars. Just let me show you what the stats are like real quick. You know, max OPC, GTC 4189, and I wanted to talk about this one. Yep, 4087. And then last thing I want to talk about would be a legendary. I want to just see if I can give this TVR Typhon some justice in the 81 range. So let's scroll down to see if it is probably the only legendary that might be useful. So 81, 81, 81, 81, 0 to 60 of 3.5. So these are the cars that's kind of up against, right? Zonda S 3.6, but that's 83. If we really go to 81, we got 3.7, 3.4, but I don't think this has MRA. 3.3, this doesn't have MRA, 3.4, 4.0, 3.5, but this does have MRA actually. 3.7, 2.8, 3.6, this does have MRA, but this 3.6, this does have MRA as well. You know what? This TVR is a bit of a keeper. I'm gonna say that the TVR is actually a bit of a keeper because it's a specialist drag car. There is really no other legendary around its RQ limit that I think will beat it in a drag. So yeah, no, the TVR is a keeper. I would say the TVR is genuinely a keeper. The handling is not a good car, not a good number, but it is a drag car. This is a 996 car, genuinely. 3.5 with the MRA that it has, which I think is close to 100. 37, 39, 28, 37. I think the only thing that will give it a run for its money is this, and it's a prize car. Or maybe the other Spiker. This one here, but then again 3587 maybe, but besides that, no competition. 3586, but this got the MRA nerf. 39, I know this has 97 MRA, but it is 39, and that is a 699 car because it has 89 handling. Yeah, you know what? This is a pretty good car. Alright, so that's the only legendary that I would be happy with. I would say that's a definite keeper. So let's look back at the pack. So if we go into miscellaneous, we go in, no, collections and tags, sorry, great exhibition, years, 2000s. I would be happy with any of the legendaries for the Tri-Series, but from a general sense, if I was going to judge from a general standpoint, alright, take away the Tri-Series, how useful these cars are going to be outside of the Tri-Series, TVR Typhon would be good. These two Lotuses, so two epics, one legendary, and when it comes to the ultra rares, I would say Vanquish, XKR is a 1-2 Opal GTC concept, 3 and 404, XKR 5, 6, 7. 7 ultra rares out of 23, 13, 2 epics out of 13, 1 legendary out of 6 that I would say I would genuinely be used, that I would genuinely use outside of the Tri-Series. So if that says it enough, it's not a really good pack unless you really want the RTR. If you really want the RTR, then fine. You know, you gotta open the pack regardless if your hand is weak. But outside of the Tri-Series, the pack itself is not very strong. I wouldn't really, you know, go for it unless you really want this TVR. And honestly, this TVR, if you really want it, there are these special packs out right now that have already been reviewed on Instagram. It's going to be the 2000 to 2004 UK carbon fiber. Now, why I say this would be a better pack is because, you know, if we go into years once again, and we need to filter this. So from 2000 to 2004, where is it? 444. Here we go, and we go into collections and tags. Is it UK in general? I think it is actually UK in general. So if we go into country, UK, all cars, there are literally only 2 cars to choose from. It's either the Atom 2 or the TVR Typhon. So, and both of these cars are going to be useful for the finals. So if you just want the TVR Typhon, honestly, this would be the best pack to get, because I think I think when it comes to a TVR pack, well, let's actually check out the TVR pack. Where is it? Manufacturer. Is this the only legendary TVR? It might be. It is! Okay! Never mind. You know what? The TVR pack. If you really want the TVR Typhon, the TVR pack is the best pack to get, because then you have a 100% chance of actually getting a pretty decent car. But besides that, that's going to be it. And also you have the chance of the TVR Tuscan Race Car and the Griffith, which are both amazing epics. But with that said, that's going to be it, guys. I know the pack isn't out yet, but obviously we can see and expect a 2000 Great Exhibition carbon fiber going into the finals. So am I going to open any? The answer is no. Should you open any? Only if you want the RTR. If you don't want the RTR, don't open this pack. pack just because, ooh, it's a new pack that I've never seen before. It's not worth it. Anyway, that's going to be it from what you can get from that pack. I hope this video was helpful. If you could support me by smashing the like button and subscribing, I would really appreciate that because I'm really, really close to 5,000 subscribers, and hopefully I can cook up something special for that occasion. With that said, though, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, blossom out.